Hello Flight Simmers, I'm Adam, welcome to another flight simulation video, and Navigraph have just launched the results for their 2023 Flight Sim Community Survey. I thought we'd go through the results and have a look at them as I think they're very interesting. Let's analyze the results. Now, two things I will say. Well, first off, if you've not heard of Navigraph, they are the company that have hosted this survey. And Navigraph are a company who create aeronautical charts for flight simulation for any simulator. It doesn't matter what flight sim you fly, they're good in all those sims. On their website, they proudly support Microsoft P3D and X-Plane. But like any flight sim, really, commercially or general aviation, you can use these charts if the sim depicts the real world. So they create these, and you can typically get it through a subscription, either like on your tablet, your mobile. If the plane itself supports within the flight deck tablet, you can have it, coming to you through there. But most people probably have it on an app on their desktop for the PC. And they are great. I really endorse them. It's really worth getting if you really want to take this like fun seriously, or seriously fun. If you're serious about your fun, okay? So yeah, Navigraph, the people who hosted this. Now, I imagine the only people who took part in this were people who have got a subscription to Navigraph because they advertised it on their website. They emailed it out to their email list. Most likely friends and Discords and community members shared the link. So even if somebody didn't have a subscription to Navigraph, they probably took part as well. But I imagine there were more Navigraph users doing this survey, which doesn't really mean anything for the results itself, but just to get some perspective of the results, because the results, I would say, are biased. And you need to get perspective on these results, okay? In order to be fair, okay? For me, Flight Sim Community, doesn't matter what Flight Sim you use, Flight Sim Community is a blanket term for anybody who uses a flight simulator. Doesn't matter if you're in Microsoft, you're in P3D, you're in X-Plane, you're in FSX, you're in DCS World, you're in Infinite Flight, or whatever the other flight sims are. You're just a Flight Simmer community member as a blanketed, But this survey actually really goes and covets hard over one simulator only. So take the results with a pinch of salt. Plus, also, only 736 participants took part in this, right? Let's get some perspective, shall we? Since Microsoft 2020 came out, like Asobo have even announced that they have something like 10, 11 million users, people who have bought the flight sim of 2020 in like 2 years, which is very interesting because on Steam alone, there is 1 million people who have downloaded that sim on Steam alone. So I'm going to guess that the other 10 are for Xbox Game Pass. I mean, I got it downloaded for free for Xbox Game Pass. I don't use it, but it's free. Well, why not? So that's like 11 million people already, okay? And that's just Microsoft. So like P3D, all versions, FSX, all versions. FSX sold something like 10 million copies in its lifetime as well. And like P3D was a very big competitor to FSX back in the day. Probably not as many users today, but P3D is still going strong. Like, it's still being made. We're on version 6.1 now as of making this video. And it has got a community, and so does X-Plane. So there, I would say, is probably, at a rough guess, about 13 million community members strong. Like, before Microsoft 2020, it was probably like 300,000 people strong. But now, or maybe more, there was never any facts or figures, okay, given out. So we can only really guess. But, like, just from what I've stated, like what I've researched on the internet, there's got to be at least 13 million people who have got a copy of a flight simulator in, like, doesn't matter what copy. But are they active users? Like, I know for a fact that, yes, 12 million or 11 million or whatever it was people got the Microsoft 2020 version. But Twitch tells a story. Now, not everybody uses Twitch or sees Twitch. It's a streaming platform, okay? So you get only a small glimpse of a community. Remember that. But when Microsoft 2020 first came out, there was something like 5,000 channels, okay, dedicated for Microsoft Flight Sim. People using it, right? So, let's say 1 million people got it the first year. Only 5,000 of those people were actually streaming on Twitch. So that's not a big proportion of the people who got it. You go on Twitch now, and you have a look at the Microsoft Flight Sim category, right? The usership is not 5,000 anymore. It's only 2.2 thousand viewers, right? So it's actually had a drop-off since its launch. And obviously that sim was aimed at gamers, so gamers get a game, play it to death, move on to the next one. That's their MO, right? So yeah, 11 million have been purchased, but how many active flyers are there? Okay, I'd probably say less than 100,000. Okay, anyway, only 23,736 participants actively contributed in this survey. So the reason I'm waffling on about all Microsoft and all this is you need to get some perspective of who is doing this survey, okay? Because they're like, let's just say 24,000, shall we? Or 23,500 to sort of round it off a bit. That's not even 2% of the community. There's like 10 times more community members, or 20 times as many community members than people in this survey. So this is a very small proportionate view of the flight sim community. Just remember that, okay? So what is so basically they asked a lot of questions. It was multiple choice. You tick the one that you did. So here's an example. What is the main purpose of your flight simulation? And the number one is this is weird because it doesn't show it as number one. It shows it as number two. That's a weird thing to do. Usually you have the top one at the top, and then but the first one they put casual gaming entertainment, but the one that actually got the most is curiosity, and interest in aviation. Okay? So people curious about flight sim and have an avid interest in aviation are the main people who did this survey. Okay? Not your casual gamer. They weren't involved in this. Okay? Which I gotta say is the majority usership for Microsoft Flight Simulator. There is more gamers, I imagine, that bought that flight sim than there are flight simmers. Maybe not now in today's world of 2023, because flight simmers stay with flight sims. Gamers move on to another game. And the massive drop-off that Microsoft Flight Sim has had since its launch proves that. So I think it's just interesting, that this question, and this is how the whole survey was structured. Question, and then you choose which category you fall into. So all the answers are preset from the beginning. There was very little putting your own answer in. Okay. So here we go. What hardware do you primarily use to run your flight sim? And 92% are on the PC. There's only 2.6% on an Xbox. I mean, yeah, obviously, if you're going to flight sim, don't use a laptop, okay? Don't use a tablet or a mobile phone. You need a PC. If you really want to get a good experience, the hardware is very important. And a gaming console has limitations because it only has what it has, and you really can't upgrade it. You can't swap out the graphics card or the CPU or the memory. You can maybe increase your hard drive space, but that's about it. They're locked to when they're released, So a PC you can upgrade over time. So yeah, PC is where Flight Sim is at. But I don't believe at all, right? And again, just remember, the gamers of Microsoft did not take part in this survey, most likely. I don't know for sure, but most likely because it's all probably Navigraph subscription users and people who only have a curiosity and an interest in aviation. So I'm guessing the gamers didn't get the link or didn't even take part, because that stat would be way higher, okay? Because Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 was purely aimed at the gaming market. When they first launched it on PC, they already had their eye on the Xbox. Already. The trailer, the very first trailer we had, which was, get it on Game Pass. Like, people associate that now with PC, but back then, it was only in beta for PC, and it was all on the consoles. And seriously, Microsoft and Asobo have aimed this flight sim for gamers on consoles because they outweigh PC users like 5 to 1, you know? PC is coming more and more popular as as like a whole, and I'm not talking about just flight sim, I'm talking about gaming, you know? The gaming community is far greater than the, you know, the flight sim community. The flight sim community is a niche. Before 2020, it was definitely a niche. Now it's an accepted niche, but it's still a niche. The gaming community and Microsoft knew this when they released Microsoft 2020. They knew they were tapping into a gaming market. So the gamers are the main majority people of those 11 million sold units who hold those copies, but they're half of those copies aren't actively being used now. You know, it's way less than that. So, yeah, this isn't really accurate to the flight simulator community as a whole. Remember, not one single simulator owns the flight sim community. We're a whole, and it doesn't matter what flight sim you use. You're still a member if you're using a flight sim. So, what graphics card you got in your primary flight simulator computer? It looks like the 4091 out. What, the cards that cost $2,000? Like, I'm like, I'd love. Do you know how? You notice how age is not represented in this survey results? Like the usership of age, because I imagine the most people who used Flight Sim are going to be between the age of 12 and 25, guaranteed, with the next group probably 25 to 35 or 25 to 45. And then the third one will be the older generation. How many kids do you know that can buy a 4090 card? Oh, they're probably asking their parents. I got a 3090, and that's only 6.7%. That's like, wow, you know? That's really tiny. I was very surprised about that, because the 3090, it's got 24 gig of VRAM, which I believe the 4090 has as well. The 4090 is like twice as powerful as the 3090, but it's also twice as expensive. Actually, no, it's 30% faster than the 3090, but it's twice as expensive. You know, so if you're looking at cost versus performance, man, it's way smarter to go for the 3090 than the 4090. Now, again, Navigraph subscribers and anybody partnered with Navigraph, okay? If we scroll down here, all these people, partner contributions, okay? All these people took part in providing information as well to this, right? Do you notice somebody who ain't here? Right? So there's Lockheed Martin. Yeah, okay. Where's Microsoft? Where's Asobo? Did they not get involved in this? Like, Microsoft and Asobo did not, according to Navigraph, provide any information on the stats for their own sims, whereas Lockheed Martin did. You know, Metaflight did. Laminar Research did. Basically, every other flight sim company gave, you know, information or was help, you know, in this survey. Sobo and Microsoft went, no thanks. So yeah, let's have a look here. I just see this as, by the way, this survey is a Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 advertisement, as well as an advertisement for 2024. Okay? Like, let's count how many questions they shared here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 questions. Okay. Which product release are you looking forward to? All of these are in Microsoft. Okay? No one's talking about the Concorde for P3D that came out a few months ago. No one's talking about the X-Plane latest edition. These are all Microsoft. Which product release are you looking forward to? The one for P3D, mate, because that's my sim. Oh, the one for X-Plane, because that's my sim. Oh, sorry, I meant which Microsoft product are you looking forward to? So that's one question only for Microsoft. Hey, what was 2023's best flight simulation product release, according to you? Hey, look again. Look at this. Oh, that one says X-Plane 12. There we go. Navi charts updates. You know, that's 2. And that's it. Oh, infinite flight updates. 3 of the answers are aimed at other sims. The rest of these answers are only for Microsoft. So that's 2 questions aimed at Microsoft users. Which features in an add-on aircraft do you value? Well, that could be anything. What are your expectations on the upcoming Microsoft 2024? That's a 3rd question. Will you get Microsoft 2024 when it becomes available? That's a 4th question. What is your primary flight sim? We'll come back to that. And what virtual airlines are you a member of? Do you know what? I haven't even heard of half of these since 2020. But that's a fair cop one as well. And what peripheral do you use? That's a fair cop. How much VRAM? That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. And that's fair. So, out of the 12 questions, 25% of this is only asking its Microsoft fan base. There are no questions for P3D. There are no questions for X-Plane or the other flight sims. So, this survey, and you can't see, but I'm using, knobhead hand quotes, is basically biased. Just throw it away. It doesn't mean anything because it's a very small percentage of the flight sim community, and the survey is aimed pretty much at one simulator. So it doesn't really give you accurate results for everything. How much RAM do you have? The number one is 32 gig. Man, is that it? 32 gig. A motherboard can hold like 128 gig or 64 gig. I mean, that might be overkill, to be fair. Like, who's got 512 gig of RAM in their PC? Like, that's somebody with about 5 PCs, 1,000 or more? No, I don't think so. I got 64 gig. I used to have 16, well, 132 gig stick posing as a 16, because only one channel worked, but, 32 gig is an acceptable amount, I'd say. So, yeah, that's good, yeah. What peripherals do we use? Everybody uses, basically, 66% use a throttle quadrant, and nobody uses the ejection... Oh, sorry, 0.8% people use the ejection seats. 1% have projectors. That's quite interesting. What is tomato juice? What? I mean, is this even a serious survey, guys? Tomato juice, mate. That's my number one additional I can't even say the word. Peripheral hardware. Okay, I use tomato juice, mate. All right. I mean, okay. I don't think this is really in a serious manner either. It doesn't matter. Which one is your primary flight simulator software? Okay, so this is where it gets interesting, guys. Let's have a look at this. Now, it doesn't list the versions, note that. So, 23,500 people use the survey. Survey says only 13% of 23,000 use X-Plane. Only 70% of the 23,000 people use Microsoft Flight Simulator. And 23,000 people is not even 2% of the actual community. It'd be interesting to see if everybody who took part, what those results would be. Because it would not reflect what we're being shown here at all. Aerofly, I'm very sorry. That never really got to take off. I've never heard of Aerowinks. Doesn't sound serious. Rortos, never heard of that, but I'm going to guess that's helicopter based. Flight Gear, Falcon BMS, never heard. GeoFS, is that a flight sim? DSS World, that's legit. Infinite Flight, I would have thought DSS World and Infinite Flight would have had their numbers swapped around, to be fair. Lockheed Martin, here we go, 4.6%. So of the less than 2% community members who took part in this survey, only 4% or only 4.6% use P3D. There's 6 versions, by the way. And it doesn't even show FSX, suspiciously enough, you know. Now, if you do the maths, right, 4.6%, considering how many people took part in this survey, is roughly about 1,111 people, okay? This is where I find it interesting when developers are saying P3D is dead, because over 1,000 people have bought it. Like, are they actively using it? This is the big question. You know, out of the 23,000 who took part in this survey, I'm going to guess everybody is actively using their simulator. It's like, I don't think many gamers came into this survey, you know? So, and they were the majority of people who bought Microsoft. But, like, out of the community members of 13 million strong, like, I, again, don't think these results are accurate. But to the people who use Navigraph, who actively took part in the survey, meaning they actively fly in the simulator, there's over 1,000 people using P3D actively still today. You know, like devs, when you say, "Oh, it's not worth it," I'm sorry, it's not worth it, is it? £40 for an add-on would give you like £4,000 profit of sales. I'm telling you, a business that makes 44,000 in a year is doing okay. Like, might not be millions, but it's acceptable and it's worth it, right? Also, I find it funny that 1,111, that surely means P3D is number one. Okay. Anyway, like 70% use the Microsoft Flight Simulator. 70% of the less than 2% community members of the flight sim community shows that they actually, it is the, and it doesn't say like, because like I have got Microsoft in my account, but I don't have it installed. I also have X-Plane 12 installed, as well as P3D version 6, 5, and 3, and FSX. I have all those. God, how many simulators have I got? FSX, P3D version 3, 5, 6, and I got 5 flight simulators installed on my PC, guys. Wow, I didn't even realize. But P3D is my primary, so remember that as well. There are many people I know who have Microsoft, X-Plane, and P3D all installed, and they use all 3. There are many streamers who fly multiple sims, and there were many big-name streamers on Twitch and YouTube that show that they still actually have got P3D installed on their system because they've done it recently. Like, this one, I get the feeling that this survey is going to be like, developers are going to look at this, right? And go, oh yeah, well obviously we need to make it for Microsoft only because it's the majority of the community, isn't it? No, it isn't. It's a small reflection, this survey, of the community. Get some perspective, guys. Will you get Microsoft 24 when it becomes available? I prefer not to say. Why? Why don't you prefer to say? Oh, sorry, mate. It's a secret. I can't answer that. Like, what? That's just weird to me. But 73% of the less than 2% users are more than likely going to get it. Why is it so high? I'm going to say that the majority of Microsoft users have the Navigraph subscription because Navigraph is partnered with Microsoft and Asobo and have really pushed their products since 2020, like hard, and changed them a lot. Navigraph has changed so much since 2020. Okay? So the majority of Microsoft users are using this survey, okay? What are your expectations for the upcoming sim? Everybody wants performance and FPS optimization. What? Sorry? That is not what I've heard in the community chats. Like, I go in Discords, I watch Twitch streams, I watch YouTube vids, and everybody's talking about compatibility with their old add-ons. Okay? I've never heard people say, well, I hope it performs better than my current sim. Like, everyone's saying, I want my planes that I've got in 2020 working in 2024. Yet, according to this survey, only 4.7% of people actually care about that. I mean, what? No. I'm sorry. And everybody complains about how unstable the update system is. So, improved stability, 2.5%, calling bullshit. Okay? This survey is just a meme, guys. Come on. What features in an add-on aircraft? I mean, I'm going to get so many hater comments, I tell you. What features in an add-on aircraft do you value the most? And the survey would notice again how the highest is always at the top. Complexity of aircraft systems and systems depth gets the #1 vote. The one thing that Microsoft isn't known for is the complexity of its aircraft systems and the systems depth themselves. It's nothing compared to X-Plane and P3D, by the way. Okay? Like, the PMDG 737 is like 11% missing than it is in P3D. Okay? There were planes in X-Plane, and the full extent of that plane wasn't transferable to Microsoft. Okay? So the fact is that what features do you value the most? It's probably the one that the sim is lacking the most. That's what they value. It ain't aircraft features and functionality. It ain't performance, accuracy, and realism. That should be higher. The ones that they value the most is what they have the least of, is usually, you know. Flight dynamics is #3. Man, in Flight Sim, that should be #1. Flight model accuracy is what you're using that simulator for, not your third preferred. Come on, guys. And it seems that, you know, the fourth one down is graphics. Nobody cares, by the way, about the visuals, guys. Nobody cares that Microsoft looks photoreal. Like, that's not as important. They want more realistic, authentic aircrafts with higher depth because they've already got the graphics and visuals and texturings. And that's why they don't value it, because they've already got it. So you got to reverse your thinking on this question, okay? If it's at the top, it's what it's lacking. And if it's at the bottom, it's what they've already got, okay? Think of it like that. What was 2023's best flight simulation product release according to you? Something that came out in Microsoft, basically. And it's the same with this one. These are all just aimed at Microsoft only, meaning that this, you know, scientific study has just turned into a complete sell. Oh, here we go. The full results. Oh, why didn't they tell me that? Let's go have a look at the full results, guys. God, they even write a bloody whole document out about it. So here is the collaborative effort of the developers. Okay. Again, I'm not seeing Microsoft, and I'm not seeing a bozo here. I'm seeing the entire community. Lockheed Martin are there. Laminar Research are there. You know what I mean? It even says X-Plane 12 as well as Laminar Research. But the #1 sim, guys, that everybody says is the best didn't even bother with this survey. What does that say, guys? Okay. What? Come on. Give us the results, mate. So here we go. The survey garnered those amounts. So 66% completing the 82 question survey, right? They gave you 12 answers of 82, and only 66 participants actually completed the survey. Like, this is getting worse each time. Right, here we go. The age range. Here we go. #1 is the age of 15 to 20-year-olds. Kids. Okay? On their games consoles, because not many of them can afford a PC. I fall into the 7%. And I imagine there's quite a few people who fall into the 15 to 35 age range. So that's not surprising. Nobody over the age of 85, evidently. If you're over the age of 85, please put your comment down below, because only 1% is over the age of 80. And nobody under the age of 10 is playing. So yeah, mainly kids. Okay, how old are you? Well, hang on. Oh, compared to last year's results. Interesting. Still kids. Gender. 97% men. Oh, man. Where's last year's result on that one, guys? Didn't ask it, did you? Because it ain't really important, is it? For flight simulation. This one's kind of cool. America and the United Kingdom are #1 in flight sim. Confirmed. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess that'll do. I guess that's okay. I mean, the results don't really change year to year. There are more people doing the survey this year, though. So, this is a weird one. Household size among respondents. What? Like, what has this got to do with flight sim? How many people do you live with in your household? Well, what does it matter? I'm an orphan, mate. I live with hundreds of people. What does it matter? Marital status? Why does it matter what your status is here? This has nothing to do with flight sim, guys. Do you know what this survey is? It's a business survey to get information about the user base so they can use it to sell products in the future to you. That's exactly what this flight survey is. That smells like Microsoft, man. What are some of your other hobbies? Video games, #1. Everybody listens to music. Everybody goes outside. Like, some of these are a bit bizarre, isn't there? I would have thought collecting aviation would be higher, though, to be honest. So, what is the other? Again, preset. Alright, what's your music preference, flight simmers? That's an important question, by the way. We're rockers at heart, guys. We're rockers at heart. Like, I don't know what this has to do with flight sim. Okay? Education. What's the level of your education? What does it matter? It's flight sim. It's make-believe. It's virtual. Like, the highest level, please. Well, we're all in high school, mate. Bunch of kids evidently rule the community. Okay? That's what this is saying. And yet they all, evidently, have bachelor degrees. Like, what? What is your employment status? I am a full-time employed kid. Alright? I'm 15 and I'm working hard. Oh, and I'm also flight simming as well. Come on, man. Industry. What is the industry of these kids? Computer and technology. That's you know, flight simming, isn't it? Oh, God. Honestly. Working within aviation. Do you work within aviation? Nope. I'm a video gamer and a flight simmer. That's my work within aviation. 20% do, though. 20% of the less than 2% work in aviation. That's quite interesting. That's a good statistic, that is. And what is the most popular aviation area? Pilot. Pilot. Not many flight attendants doing the flight sim. Okay? Even less aviation medicine professionals. I mean, yeah. That's quite interesting. I do like that. Simulation introduction age. How old were you when you first got started? Everybody gets started. That looks like it's giving me the finger. Hey, yeah, it's right here. Screw you, man. I'm an 11-year-old. I mean, I got started... Well, I first saw flight sim when I was like 8. I first bought one when I was 23. And been using it ever since. For the last 20 years. What age did you first get interested in flight simulation? Oh, yes. So, pilot license. No, I ain't got a pilot license because I'm a flight simulator and it's virtual. And you don't get real-life licenses in virtual flights. But what if you do have one, because 20% of those, they're the same 20% people who have a job in aviation. Yeah, we're all private pilots. We haven't actually got a commercial. We're mainly private pilots. How many kids are getting a private pilot's license these days, guys? I mean, I'm just taking the piss now, because that's what this survey is doing. Taking the fucking piss. Excuse my French. Bonjour. What additional ratings do you hold? Well, only 20% of the people does this apply to. So that's 100% of 20%, by the way. Simulator relative to training. When did you get your first flight sim? Sorry, what do you care? This is a flight sim. Like, I'm kind of getting bored now. I said 82 of these questions, half of them are just bullshit. I mean, it's like, yeah, are you enrolled in flight school, mate? Like, why? Do you want to sell me a flight school package, do you? I just kind of get the feeling the partners asked that, like, Navigraph went to, people and said, what questions do you want us to include? Because some of these are very specific and have nothing to do with much, Some do. I'm not surprised we're going to come across a question that says, well, if this product was to come out, would you buy it? Like, I think we're going to see this coming up soon. What is all this? Familiarization. I mean, I'm going to link this down below, guys, and I'm going to drop this PDF in my Discord if you want to go through the full 82 question survey, because they only give you 12 answers, guys. So I'm going to drop this PDF in my Discord, okay? It's yeah. Do you have an Xbox console? 80% don't, evidently. Even though Microsoft is aimed at Xbox, 80% of the less than 2% don't. Bullshit. Honestly. I mean, to be honest, actually, maybe not bullshit, because Flight Sim you need a PC for. So yeah, I can imagine a lot of people do have, PC. So yeah. I think that's quite. Here we go. Look at this. This is where we find out the true results. Look at number version 5, way ahead of version 4321, and FSX actually has more users than P3D. Man, FSX is 30% of the Microsoft Flight Sim community. What? That's a reason to still support P3D, because P3D still supports FSX. Like, you can use your FSX products in P3D all the way up to version 6. It's version 6 is backwards compatible all the way to FSX. No other sim can say that. No other sim can say that. It's interesting here how there's a lot of people on 12 and 11, but like, yeah, these are real. This is really interesting. And look at this. The darker is most of the time. The white is never, and the bright blue, which are the tips, is very infrequent. And there's quite a few here that say, oh, most of the time, or the dark ones is the ones you really want to look at. And compared to last year's results, wow. Let's have a look at P3D V5. It's saying there's about 15% here, and in here it's saying there's 20%. That's a 5% increase over the last 12 months for P3D version 5. Microsoft, 85%, and 75%. That's interesting. While P3D has seen a 5% increase in version 5 user base, Microsoft have seen a 5% decrease in their users. Not getting stronger by the year, this one, is it? Here we go. What's your primary flight planning tool? SimBrief by Navigraph. And then it's Navigraph charts. So this is basically the Navigraph. It's not the Flight Sim community survey. It's the Navigraph community survey. Okay? And only less than 2% of the actual Flight Sim community, took this. So just get some. If you're still watching the video now, put in the comments awesome. Okay? Just to prove that you still are watching. Okay? And you're awesome as well for still watching this. And I'm going to put this up unedited. I'm literally going to take the raw file from the recording, not do any fancy shit, and just stick it on the internet. Ugh. How many times do you use your flight sim? Majority use it 3 times a week. So I'm going to say that the streamers are between 5 and 7. Maybe possibly 10 plus. So, like, yeah, this is where the streamers sit, right about here. That's not a very big community effort, is it? Compared to the majority of people who only use their sim maybe twice a week, you know? Casual people. Casual. Like the other answer reflected. Hours per session, 2. Not many long haulers in flight sim, is there? Interesting. Why is that? Casually without any rules. Yeah, because I fly Microsoft. What do you enjoy flying in the simulator the most? Narrow body commercial airliners. That is because the 777 has not come out yet from Microsoft. Next year, it's going to say wide body commercial airliners. Okay? The reason it says narrow body commercial airliners is because in 2023, I think it was, or 2022, PMDG released their aircraft. Otherwise, it would still be pistons. Does it say this for last year? Yes, it does. There you go. Point proved. Number 1 was single engine piston because PMDG hadn't released their aircraft. And now, it's narrow body commercial airliners. God. Here we go. Microsoft add-ons. What do you normally fly in Microsoft? But we're not able to compile any results for this question due to the same reason mentioned above. In preparation for this survey, we were not able to compile a complete list of X-Plane aircraft add-ons because we simply couldn't be bothered to. Therefore, we cannot present a set of predetermined answering alternatives to the respondents. So, hang on, sorry. You see mfsaddons.com, right? Microsoftaddons.com, okay? But you couldn't be bothered to list some aircrafts for X-Plane in P3D and actually set out a question dedicated to those sims. That means you're biased to Microsoft. This ain't scientific, mate. However, despite extensive work and adjusting our AI algorithms, sorry, what, the robots do the work for you? The answers provided by respondents in the free text response field were too varying. I mean, basically bullshit, guys. Navigraph, I'm calling you out, mate. Honestly, this, guys, do you know what? I'm not going to bore you anymore. This video is going for 42 minutes analyzing this, and I've got a flight to do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, guys. Don't forget, I give away Flight Sim add-ons. Actually, no, I don't give Flight Sim add-ons away. I give Flight Sim vouchers away for Flight Sim add-ons. Sim Market vouchers, €50 every single month, okay? If you want to be in with a chance to win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below in any one of my Flight Sim videos. And at the end of every single month, I go live with a vlog to announce the winner and give out €50 of Sim Market vouchers. Thank you for watching this, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the skies. Bye.